Hi, I'm Lall Thakral and I would be teaching you about palmistry. And I'm already into these field. I'm more like a psychic or you can say a healer. I generally help people with their tarot readings, numerology. I'm a Reiki master and I also do hypnotherapy. All the arts that I teach are basically used to help people. So one of the arts is like palmistry. So let's start with a basic course on palmistry. So now there are 5 types of hands. So we would be discussing about the different hands today. So this is the elementary hand. This belongs generally to the worker class, or someone who has a Down syndrome or any disability would be having this type of hand. So this hand, basically the fingers would be, as you can see, there would not be many lines on this hand, and basically this hand is very rare to find. We do not find this hand much. So now we can discuss about the second hand, which is the square or the useful hand. The first hand is the elementary hand. It is characterized by stiff, heavy fingers and a short, clumsy thumb. It is generally, we can see that the phalanx is turned back, often in a clubbed shape, and the palm is generally very hard and thick. The fingertips are generally rounded and somewhat of a square type. So this hand, generally it was for people like the unskilled manual labor generally has this kind of hand, or someone with a Down syndrome or any kind of disability would be having this kind of hand. So it's basically these kind of hands are generally with people who do not use their mental ability or do not use it, have less of it. The second hand we are going to talk about is the square hand, which is also called as the useful hand. So it is of medium size, often with knotty fingers and nail phalanges, which are generally square. You can see they should be a little square like that. And this hand is generally possessed by those people who have foresight, spirit of order and conventionality, and they are full of, like they like the things to be fair, and they believe in the love of truth and fair play. Useful hands are very generally provided with knots, or at least with distinct second knots. You can see the knot out here, which complete and round off, so to speak, their more decided idiosyncrasies. The third shape of hand we are going to talk about is the psychic hand. It is one of the most beautiful ones, and it is the most scarce hand to find. It is small and slender compared with the rest of the body. It has a medium palm, smooth fingers, or fingers with the knots barely, you can't see the knots actually. The nail phalanges are long and tapering to a point. A small and elegant thumb. Whenever the psychic hand is large or more distinctly knotted, it possesses force and combination, but loses much of its spontaneity. The psychic hand is not, as novelists persistently claim, the exclusive privilege of old families. It is very scarce in our country. The fourth type of hand we are going to discuss is the mixed hand. In this kind of hand, the fingertips do not, all the 4 fingers do not have one type of shape. You'll see that 2 are either square or artistic or spatulate. So basically they have different types of fingers. Men who generally have mixed types of hand have, their minds are also very versatile but not very powerful. And they can take up many different kinds of pursuits, and though they would be good in doing many things, they would not excel in any one of them. The first and the fourth finger in the great majority of these type of hands are either pointed or conical type, then the second and the third fingers. So for the mixed hand, we need to study it very well. If the first and the fourth fingers are pointed and the second and third are conical, in a good hand it means lofty ambition, love of science, or a healthy religious belief, a noble comprehension of hand. But in a bad hand it would mean crazy pride and scheming person, superstition, or art misapplied. Now again, in the mixed hand, if the first and the fourth finger are pointed and the second and the third are square, in a good hand it would again mean lofty ambition and truth in art efforts, whereas in the bad hand it would be crazy pride or using art for evil purposes. If the first and fourth fingers are conical and second and third are square, in a good hand it means a love of reading, aptitude for science, and more inclined towards art and music, whereas in a bad hand it would be vanity and art practiced just for, it's a false idea of religion. If the fourth and first fingers are conical and the second and third are spatulate, so in a good hand it means love of reading, books of travel, and painters, writers, or people who are more interested in historical subjects generally have this kind of hand, whereas in a bad hand it means just bragging or irreligion. अच्छा था ये वाला, अच्छा था? The next hand we are going to talk about is the philosophical hand. The palm is rather large and well developed, but it is bony. You can see there are knots on the fingers which are very well marked. You can just recognize the philosophical hand by just looking at the knots on it. Philosophical hand people are generally gifted with calculations. Contrary to the useful hand or the square hand, which appeal to subordination, to authority, to usage, to custom, in the philosophical hands it appeals more to reason, to examination, to proof, and a free thought. When a philosophical hand is large, they are very good at analysis. When they are small, they are inclined towards synthesis. With a small thumb, this one is a long thumb, but with a small thumb they are guided by their heart, and with a long thumb they are led by their head. The next type of hand is the spatulate hand, which is also called as the necessary hand. You can see that the end of the fingertips are in the shape of a flattened spatula. So here basically this hand is of people who do not like to work much. There are certain spatulate hands also which are very active and industrious if they are large, fat, or soft. So these people would not do anything themselves, they would like to see others working hard, and even they would not like to travel themselves but would be very much interested in reading about voyages. The self-confidence of spatulate subjects is generally very extreme. They possess the highest degree in the instincts of real life, and by their natural intelligence they rule matters that are very mundane or of material interests. If the fingers are very smooth, then the necessary hands like comfort as well as elegance, but their elegance is generally very fashionable rather than the artistic kind. The next hand we are going to discuss is the artistic hand. The artistic hand is characterized by smooth fingers The phalanges generally assume the form of cones, or you can say elongated thimbles. Plastic arts, painting, sculpture, architecture, some of the professions that such hand generally go to do. People with such hands do not share the ideas of the other type upon right or wrong. Generally, this kind of hand is seen in many women have this kind of hand. The next type of hand we are going to discuss is the murderer's hand. So, how do we distinguish a murderer's hand? It has a very thick, heavy palm, reddish in color. It is generally broader than average. Short, awkward and stiff fingers, generally crooked, sometimes spatulate, but it does not have any knots. The murderer's hand is also a typical hand of the drunken people of the lower classes. It is rarely found among the educated people. Next time when you look at the hands of a politician or a pundit in a seminar, or when he's giving a speech on the television, you need to see the light that can be seen between his fingers. If there is more light that filters through their fingers, such type of politicians like to listen to you, your opinion matters to them. But if the light doesn't filter, less of light is able to come through the fingers, for these people it is their opinion, and what you say doesn't matter at all.